song we put out and stuff was very instinctual. It was just like, this feels like the thing we should say first, and that feels like the thing. And then, you know, you think about putting out other songs, and then maybe you don't. And then I think you always accept that you're not always going to have all the answers, and maybe another song on the album might raise its hand, and people will be like, well, we love this one. And then, you know.
First one you put out was As It Was,
As
right?
It Was, yeah.
And now it's the #1 single in the world or something. I mean, that's and sharing it with us. And
thank you.
Geez, it was a hell of a morning. Really good to hear you, and not only hear you guys play, good to see you again.
Thank you for having
us. Talk
us.
about a lot of stuff and hear about your process. Harry's new album, Harry House, available this Friday. And I guess you're in New York now because you're going to do a couple of nights at Madison Square Garden, right? That's what's on tap.
Well, I'll be here in August, September, I think it is. August, September. I'm playing on Friday. We're doing an album release show at the UBS Arena.
Yeah.
That's
the one you
on
charge.
Friday.
That was the $25 every ticket in the house, right?
$25, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you're going to play the new album and sort of introduce it to the public.
Yeah, so it's the day the album comes out, so we're going to play the album kind of in order, start to finish, and then we'll do that, and then we're going to go back and play a show in London on Tuesday, the same thing, and that I would imagine will be the only 2 times we'll play it kind of start to finish like that. So that's always fun, and by that point, you know, the album's been out for 20 hours or something, so you start getting, you know, you can start kind of telling what things people like and stuff. So it's going to be exciting.
Craziest fucking thing I read about you. I was watching Netflix, and they had this movie on After. I love romantic movies. I'm a sucker for it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone told me that this is such a crazy story. Just tell me if I got this right. You had some fan who loved you so much that she wrote a fantasy about you, a fantasy love story about you.
Mm-hmm.
And then that turned out to be the book After. So when I was watching that movie, I was watching a girl's fantasy of Harry Styles, right?
I don't know how much. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know if I can confirm. I'm not entirely educated on the origin of the script or anything, so I don't.
Have you heard this story?
I've heard of it, yeah, but I don't know in terms of I'm not really sure.
Dude, I don't know how you're going to keep your head straight on your shoulders with all these women carrying on, writing fantasy books about you, and I don't know, man. Everyone tells me you're a great guy. You're not an asshole. My crew is saying, "Gee, Harry Styles' band is so great. His tech crew, everyone."
Thank you.
But at some point you're going to break. You got to. You're getting too much.
The dirt will come.
What an uplifting sentiment to end on.
Really.
The impending doom. No,
how are we going to keep your head straight, Harry? I mean, you can't run off to Japan every time you get a little cuckoo. You got to just.
I know.
I think. You know what I mean?
I think honestly, over the last few years in particular, I think I used to be so kind of, I was so worried about being liked all the time that I felt like I gave up a lot of space around me that, allowed kind of negative things to affect me. And I think obviously the pandemic, all of us went through a lot of, a chance of self-reflection, all these things, and discover our priorities. And I tried to balance my life a little more. And I think I learned just that it was okay for me to kind of set boundaries in protecting the space around me. And I think, I love what I get to do as a job, and I love working. And I also feel okay now, I'm very protective of my personal life. And I think kind of compartmentalizing it like that, it's a boundary that I feel okay kind of setting now. I've never found like openly discussing my private life to ever positively affect it. So I just choose not to. And I think kind of I'm very lucky that the people around me allow me to do that. Very lucky that they allow me to feel comfortable being who I am. And in a lot of ways, I wouldn't have been able to make this album if, whether they played on it directly or not, without my friends. So in a lot of ways, it's kind of for them in a lot of ways, I guess. I think, I like to work and kind of give everything when I'm working, and then when I'm not working, I like to switch all that off and just kind of live my life and be that. I don't expect, I try not to. I try not to kind of blur that line. So if anything, sometimes I get frustrated when other people try and blur it for me. So
Well,
I kind of like a hard stop, but it's, I'm very lucky and I'm very happy right now. I feel very kind of calm in my life, and I'm excited for this new chapter. It's easily, far and away the most relaxed I've ever felt putting out music. And I think when you're in a place where you don't feel like the love in your life is dependent on how you're doing at work, and I think when you're in a place where you feel like, it's they're not one and the same, and I don't have to be doing well professionally to feel loved. And I think it's like when you're alone, and you don't feel really loved, it's terrifying. And when you feel truly loved, being on your own and time alone is incredibly relaxing. And I feel very lucky to be in that place in my life right now. So I'm excited to be putting this music out, and I feel good about it.
yep. And as you said, people like Prince, you never knew what Prince was eating for breakfast.
Correct.
Some things have to be private. You got to be a little mysterious.
Mhm.
But what you ought to do is call me privately and let me hear what the hell is going on in your life, because
I'll tell you all the private parts.
you got to tell me some private parts.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I want to hear, because listen, you're doing a remarkable job of staying level-headed. From everyone on my staff is telling me, which is unbelievable, because you live in such an insulated world when you're a musician. You could get out of touch, but you're maintaining some sort of normal life. So that's beautiful.
I think one of my favorite things that a friend of mine told me was, remember that everything that people say about you isn't true. Whether they say that you are horrific, it's not true. And if they tell you that you're the best thing ever, it's not true.
Right.
And, I think that was a big thing for me. I think, there's a lot of things that I want to do, and there's a lot of music I want to make and things I want to do, but I don't want to make it from a place of trying to kind of prove myself all the time to people that a lot of the time I don't know. So I think, we'd say, like, sometimes before the show, like, everything to achieve and nothing to prove, and that's kind of where I'm trying to come from at the moment.
Hey, are you watching this Johnny Depp trial at all?
I'm not really.
You're not?
Trying to actively
Wouldn't
avoid.
you be? This guy, it's got to be nuts. Like, you're talking about privacy. They're putting his whole life. I mean, he's the one who wanted it televised. You would die a million deaths if they put your whole life on television like that and you were on trial, right? I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, I think, like, that is, a thing that people are interested in a way that, obviously you get, but is also kind of part of the problem. Like, I don't know why that needs to be, but, people want to.
I'm glued to it. I hate to tell you, Harry, there's something wrong with me. I'm like, I got to hear what the hell this guy Johnny Depp's up to. I'm right there, but listen, I'm not as evolved as you. I still got time to evolve.
Really?
Yeah, very little time. But I'm running out of time, actually. I better evolve soon. Well, Harry, you're the best. I love that you came by.
Thank you for having us.
I know I kept you way too long, but you know what? It was fun as hell for me. I don't know about you, but the new music sounds great. I'm going to tell people one more time, and I'm going to say it with peace and love. Harry's new album, Harry House, is available this Friday. He says he wants to get out there. He wants to play this music for you. He's going to go on tour and play it for you. Now, you heard two songs. You would have to, and excuse my language, Harry, you have to be an asshole not to go see Harry do this. You just heard these two songs. He's singing his brains out and everything else. Now, if you want tickets for Harry's Love on Tour, You got to go to hstyles.co.uk/tour. You got to go. You got to type a lot of shit in to get these tickets. They're not. They want people who are literate. That's why they made it so difficult. And of course, we always play Harry's music on Sirius XM Hits 1. And listen, we're all in love with Harry. Even Gary Delabate, my producer, goes, "I love Harry. He's so nice."
You have a new biggest fan.
You could get him, Harry. I mean it. But and your band is sensational, talented. You know,
Yes.
I wish they wouldn't have sex so much with each other. But all right, look, what can I do about it? It's not my problem. It's yours.
I think that's going to continue.
Yeah, I think so. Harry, best of luck with the
Thank
tour.
you so much.
Best of luck with the album, and thank you for giving us so much
Thank you.
time.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you. Thanks, Robin.
Bye. I
thank
hate
you.
to say goodbye, but I guess we have to.
See ya.
Fabulous Harry Styles. There
Thank
we
you
go.
so much.